And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Welcome to Jack Pilot Aviation. I am the Jack Pilot, where today we are going over these 3 things you need in order to pass your check ride when giving a demonstration, maneuver, stall, whatever it is on your CFI check ride. And more or less, this is fully how to teach a student when introducing them to stall awareness, different maneuvers like steep turns, lazy eights, eights on pylons. You need these 3 key things in order to have the student fully understand what they're meant to do and the total objective, what they're supposed to do. Okay, so I will first start out. So we're over in Microsoft Flight Simulator. I have this cool little head tracking thing. It's pretty cool. So first up on the list, so number 1, you're going to need the objective. Okay, now the objective is going to be where the student has to kind of know and understand what they're even trying to do in the first place, right? And then we have number 2, they have the standards. Now the ACS standards or the PTS standards, based off of what license you're going through, but sorry, I'm blanking right now. But for the CFI check ride, your DPE will specify what maneuver you will teach it to, either private or commercial standard, for your CFI check ride. And then you will specify the standards that the student needs to meet, or yourself that you need to meet for your check ride. And then lastly, we have the third one, which is going to be the common errors. Now the common errors more or less are going to be the easiest ones, since they're kind of off the top of the head, easy to recall. Things like not clearing the area, not having proper throttle setting, improper use of flight controls, improper use of rudder, aileron, elevator. And it can be improper procedure checklist. So you forgot to do something on the checklist, forgot to do a clearing turn, whatever it is. So there'll be a list of common errors that you can come up with per let's say maneuver. Let's say. So yeah, we're up in the good old 172 today. I will kind of teach you guys what it's like to actually do this and complete this maneuver, any maneuver really, by having the objective, the ACS standards, and then your common errors lastly, third. So we'll go through a few different maneuvers here, and I'll kind of show you my way I did it on my check ride. So first up, we're in our Cessna 172. We have this cool little head tracking thing. So the plane's already started up, and I'm just going to go full throttle right here. So I'm going to be starting to talk to my DPE. Firstly, all right, so we have our airspeed. It's still 0, it's coming alive. Trying to maintain our center line on our displaced threshold right here, since we can use the displaced threshold for taxiing and taking off, but we cannot use it for landing. We have runway 4 verified at St. Simon's Airport. Our airspeed is alive, coming alive. We're at 55 knots. We're going to go ahead and start rotating. Cool, and so first off, our students, we're going to want to pitch up to roughly about 10 degrees of pitch attitude. We're not worrying about any gear yet, since we're in a fixed tricycle gear airplane. So we're going to try to hold that 10 degrees as much as we can in order to get our good climb rate out of here at VY. So we'll start slowly climbing out of here. So when you're talking to your designated pilot examiner, you're just going to kind of want to walk them through what you're doing one by one by one. So our whole goal of this maneuver is going to be, first, the objective, taking off, right? And the ACS standards, maintaining VX or VY at a constant rate of climb. In this case, I'm not doing that because I'm not holding 10 degrees, but that's going to be one of the standards, okay? So we have, boom, the objective, the standards down, and then we have, lastly, our common errors. Well, our common errors, not maintaining VX or VY on your climb out, improper use of checklist, improper procedure, maybe you don't have any flaps in or anything else when you're supposed to have flaps in and everything. So that would be an example of that. Now, once we're up in here, roughly about 1,000 feet or so, we'll go ahead and hop in some steep turns, and I'll kind of show you the steep turns on how I would teach them based off of those 3 things. So let me get some altitude here, and then I'll be back with you in a moment. Alright, so first up, we're going to start off with some steep turns right here, right? So I'm roughly about 2,000 feet. I'm going to center up my heading bug by clicking that. I'm going to be centered up here. I have my visual waypoint that will roughly be, 180 degrees, or sorry, 360 degrees from you. So right at your 0 o'clock, or your 12 o'clock, I should say. So you look for a reference point, right? We're looking for a reference point. I'm just talking to him. I'm letting him know what I'm kind of looking for. And I'm trying to maintain altitude as well. I want to make sure I'm trimmed out. I have a proper power setting and everything. So the whole objective of this maneuver is we're going to try to maintain smoothness and coordination with our flight controls while doing 2 360-degree turns to the left and to the right while scanning for hazards. Okay, that is the whole objective, what we're trying to accomplish, right? Pretty simple for steep turns at least. So I have my heading bug set. I have my altitude set at 2,000 feet, if you can see that right there. I'm trimmed out and everything. And our ACS standards, right? So our ACS standards, what do we have? We have plus or minus 100 feet on our altitude. We have plus or minus 10 knots on our airspeed when we're on our entry. And we have plus or minus 10 degrees on our rollout heading, right? So we need to be within 10 degrees of at least what our heading is right now, 220 degrees-ish. So we need to be on 10 degrees on that. And then we have our bank angle, no more than plus or minus 5 degrees on our bank angle, right? So for commercial standards, what's our commercial standards, right? 50 degrees. And then private, we have 45 degrees, right? So that 50 degrees is at least for commercial, is going to be this little in-between tick mark. It's not a tick mark, but it's in between right there, kind of, for at least for 50 degrees. And then private would be this 45 degrees right there. So today in this maneuver, we're going to be doing the commercial, since I'm going to be simulating it on my CFI check ride. So we've gotten up to this far. I've explained my objective. I've gotten my ACS standards down, and I'm going to perform them to ACS standards, or do my best, right? And then common errors, which we'll get to in a second. Now, my RPM setting is roughly about 24. We'll get it up to 2450, 2460, and I'm going to start to trim out the airplane by putting some of that backwards pressure in, and I'm going to roll into it. Of course, we're going to maintain coordination as much as we can, and I'm gaining a lot of altitude really fast, but that's okay. We're going to bring that nose down on the horizon line. We're at 50 degrees right there. Look, perfect right there. So looks like my altitude's giving me roughly about 3 degrees to 4 degrees of altitude or pitch attitude right there, and I'm maintaining 2,000 really good right there. We're coming out about 15 degrees on our heading, and then boom, right there we get 220 on our heading. We lost some, we gained a lot of altitude just because we put the pitch attitude really high, and I should have done that. I should have compensated for the lot of trim I put in the aircraft, right? So again, that's one common error down. One common error is not maintaining altitude. One common error is not rolling out on your specified heading, right? And then another common error that I didn't do, which I should have done, is actually do one to the right as well. So let me recomplete the maneuver just to show you guys again kind of what we're looking for. All right, so the overall objective of steep turns, right? So we're trying to maintain smoothness and coordination with our flight controls while maintaining altitude and airspeed while doing 2 complete 360-degree turns to the left and to the right while maintaining visual awareness for hazards around the aircraft. Right, and then if we have our ACS standards, we know 50 degrees, we're going to be performing them of bank angle while maintaining our altitude. We have plus or minus 10 on our airspeed, plus or minus 100 on our altitude, and plus or minus 10 degrees on our heading, on our rollout, which I am veering away from that right now. All right, so I'm going to try this again, and I'm going to simulate kind of what I would talk through with my DPE, right? So we're on our heading right here. We're at 2,000 feet. We have a good RPM setting. I'm going to start to re-trim that airplane, put in some back pressure, maintain that 2.5 degrees. Look, and I'm maintaining 2,000 just like that. I'm trimmed out. I'm at 2,000. The airplane's basically flying itself. I'm not even touching the flight controls at this point. I'm maintaining. I see my altitude is disappearing, going down, so I'm going to increase that pitch attitude, come right around, maintain that 50 degrees of bank, pitch up a little bit. Looks like 5 degrees is going to get me back up, and I'm going to want to level off the aircraft before I bust my altitude and I bust out of my bank angle. Look, we're within standards, but barely within standards on that one, but we did roll out on our heading and we did complete it to ACS standards. And there's some common errors, of course, for not maintaining altitude, not maintaining smoothness and coordination. And of course, on this maneuver, you would want to do it to the other side as well. Now, we'll transition into some stalls right here. I'll just pull back a little bit of the power, and then I'll get set up for some stalls, and then I'll explain to you the 3 things that I would do for stalls. Alright, so we're set up here with our Cessna 172. We're in the white arc, maintaining 2,000 feet. I'm going to pull back a little bit of that power. And we're entering the white arc. So the white arc is going to be the speed where basically we can deploy flaps, right? Since we are a CFI, you should know that. On our G1000 here, I'm going to rebug our CDI needle. I'm going to pull back some of the power here. I'm going to wait to hear that stall horn. And I'm not maintaining altitude. That's going to be one common error of this thing. Not maintaining altitude, I'm just going to pull back. I hear that stall horn, and we'll do a full brake. Boom, full brake right here. We're going to do full power. Full power, and I'm going to want to establish a wind going over my wings, right? So we need to push that nose down in order to get that wind going over our wing. And I'm going to start to recover these flaps, just one by one by one, slowly. Our first notch is going to be when dropping the nose below the horizon. Our second is going to be at VX, and then our third one is going to be at VY when climbing out on our climb out. And so that is going to be our recovery, at least 4 stalls. Now for stalls, we have plus or minus 10 degrees on our heading, right? And the whole objective of this maneuver is to recover from a simulated stall over the approach to land, right? So I'll do it over again, and I'll simulate what you should say on your check ride via the 3 things that you need to say for this check ride. All right, so I'm pulling back this power little by little by little. I'm entering the white arc. I'm going to start to do that first notch of flaps, and I'll do our second notch right here. And this whole objective, we're trying to maintain smoothness and coordination on the recovery during a simulated stall, or a complete stall over the approach to land for the runway. All right, so I'm entering the white arc. I'm at 55 knots. I'm going to do my last notch of flaps, and I'm going to pull that power to idle, and I'm going to want to pitch up to about 10 degrees since we're simulating that flare, right? We'll do a full brake, and once the brake, boom, full down. And I want to clean up this airplane as much as I can, so I'm going to do the first notch of flaps, then establish that wind going over our wing, and then we want to do on the climb out. And I'm going to establish that climb out, and I'm going to recover one of my flaps. My flaps are getting cleaned up as we go out, and then once we hit VY, I'm going to clean up the last flap. And some common errors of this include not maintaining altitude, not maintaining smoothness and coordination, and leading into a stall, a spin. That is going to be the most important thing of this maneuver, okay? Because what happens when we are uncoordinated stall? We go into a spin, which we don't want. So again, maintaining your coordination during this maneuver is going to be very vital, especially coming in over the landing runway on your approach to land. So when doing that, that is going to be very vital. And also, of our common errors is not maintaining our heading. So if I'm going to a stall and I'm maintaining, 15, 20 degrees of bank, and I'm also 20 degrees off on my heading, that's a bust, unfortunately, and you're going to have to fail your check ride essentially. And the student is going to not have a good day when you're doing that, okay? So you want to explain to the DPE kind of just what the scenario is, kind of what's happening in this situation. For example, power on stalls would be a takeoff simulation of a stall, and then power off stalls would be a landing configuration stall over the approach to land. And then some steep turns, we have lazy 8s, chandelles, and the list goes on and on and on. Don't forget you have your instrument maneuvers. So yeah, maintaining your objective during the maneuver you're going to be completing. Then you have your ACS standards, which you need to remember, and I would know the ACS book for private, commercial, and CFI, mostly just private commercial since that is what you're performing them to. And then we have, lastly, the common errors. So some common errors, again, not clearing the area, not properly configured for the maneuver, not properly scanning for hazardous situations, and again, just overall being the situational aware is going to be the most important thing on your CFI check ride. So again, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe on the video. Make sure to like, it would help me out a lot. If you like some of these teaching videos with the head tracker in the G1000, in the Cessna 172, just let me know. I'll be happy to do some more CFI content for you guys. I hope you guys enjoy this video. I will be coming out with a new business email for this channel. I have some documents that I want to publish out, and then I will, I will get to this eventually, but once a few videos goes by, I will have the business email set up, and then you can inquire me about which documents you'll need, and I'll be happy to send them over to you. But again, I'm waiting on a few different things because I have my instrument ground instructor exam in a few days, and then I'm also working on my CFII. I also have my bodybuilding competition coming up, so it's going to be a lot of stuff going on for me. But again, I will try to get my business email set up in case you need some information about the objective, ACS standards, and common errors that include every single maneuver. I will get to that eventually, trust me, I will. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. I'm the Jack Pilot. Welcome to Jack Pilot Aviation. Until then, maintain VFR. Frequency change approved. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye. Have a good night.